Hey guys, Deathletter Magic here with more spoilers from my favorite set. Hey, did you know that about 180 people wanted me to know that there was a similar land to the ones that they showed that was printed in Future Sight? Because I was sick of hearing about it after the 50th comment. Now, I don't know if you knew this fun trivia fact about me or not, but I haven't followed or played Modern in over 2 years. Also, bonus fact, I don't have every card that's ever been printed memorized. Another fun bonus fact, everybody thinks that they're all going to be worth $60 or whatever because one of them is. Apparently that's a portion of MTG history that I'm a little bit more familiar with than most of you. All through 2013, that card was $9, $10, give or take. And let's see, what is it in right now? There's only 2 decks propping up. I know one of them's humans, and I forgot and don't care to look what the other one is. That's 5-color humans. So yes, of course a 5-color deck would require every dual land ever made just about. I mean, you can't even drop a basic into that thing. I mean, it's 5 freaking colors. And the last numbers I saw strongly suggested that about 80% of like all copies of that card are in the humans deck. So I mean, would humans run the rest of these? Yeah, almost definitely, but I don't think that deck's that popular. I mean, that it can like carry a brand new set. So they're not intrinsically worth as much as you think. They're right around what I thought, the $10 to $15 range, normally until one deck just absolutely takes off with them. And by the way, the early numbers that I've been hearing tossed around are making the set look like an absolute disaster money-wise, so keep that in mind. You know what'll single-handedly turn it around? Spore Frog. It's a 1/1 for 1, sacrifice Spore Frog, prevent all combat damage that we've been dealt this turn. Yay! It's not a frog, it's a fog. They should have called it Fog Frog. So, I mean, this is neat. The problem is a 1/1 for 1 that does nothing and is a frog tribal doesn't really do anything for you. So, all it lets your opponent know is that you have one and that they should expect it. Like, if it's an instant from your hand, they don't see it coming. That's the point. And then they overswing. So I don't think this is that great. But then again, I mean, once your opponent sees it, they're like, well, okay, I guess I gotta swing at him once to get him to do this. I like surprises, though. Next up, Scour All Possibilities, which clearly was stolen from Infinity War. It's a 2-cost blue sorcery, and you scry 2 then draw cards. So that's kind of nice. Very similar to other cards that are a little bit cheaper and banned. And then it has Flashback 5. That's a little steep, but I mean, if you don't have anything better to do, I don't like cards that are just blatant combo enablers, so I don't like this. Next up, Giver of Runes. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Nahiri or just like Natalie Portman. Kind of getting like an Emma Watson vibe too. I mean, she is a core cleric, but anyway, 1/2 for 1, that's cool. Rare, okay. And you tap and another target creature you control gains protection from colorless or from the color of your choice until end of turn. Wow, that's insane. Okay, that is absolutely batshit crazy. Recurring protection from colors. I felt like an asshole for putting that in my Isochron Scepter Modern deck from 3 years ago when I used to play Modern, but I don't now. Apparently some people couldn't put 2 and 2 together in their head that I used to play, but now I don't. But I used to. But now I don't. But yeah, they stopped printing protection because 1, it was too powerful, and 2, it was too confusing about the like 6 different rules about how it works. I mean, the fact that this costs 1, isn't legendary, and has 2 toughness is insane. Self-contained recurring protection for 1. This is absolutely mental. Now, nothing immediately springs to mind as a deck that this would just automatically go in, but it's so good, it has to end up in something. Oh, I know what deck it goes in, Des. How did you not know that this deck... I haven't followed Modern for 2 fucking years. You know, just in case you hadn't heard that yet. Next up, we've got a card in Simplified Chinese that may translate to Fire Breath, but Simplified Chinese, despite its name, is not that simple. So this could be named literally anything. But it's an enchantment, 3-cost red, rare, and when it enters the battlefield, each opponent gains 10 life. Okay. So very, very traditional red mechanic there. But guess what? Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a verse counter on it. Oh, I love verse counters. Then it deals damage equal to the number of verse counters on it to target player or planeswalker. This is so the opposite of red burn. It just screams red mid-range. I don't know if anybody plays that in Modern. Oh, but that's how can you not know about this? Shut the hell up. But yeah, gaining them 10 life so that you could do way more damage mid to late game, it doesn't seem very red to me, but I don't know. This probably goes in something. What? I don't care. I really don't. I really sincerely don't. Which, if you haven't gathered yet, is because I haven't paid attention to Modern in over 2 years. I don't know if you knew that or not. If it does, why don't you do your research? Just do a little bit of research. One, I have way more important shit to do in the day. And two, you go do research in some garbage you're not interested in. Let's see how fun that is. Next up, Mana Ward. Again, I mean, it was in, Masters 25 and EMA? Wow. It's a 3-cost jellyfish for that tasty jellyfish tribal, 2/2. Not flying, not island walk, it's just a 2/2 for 3. Oh, but wait! When it enters the battlefield, return target creature to owner's hand. I'm fairly certain there are blue creatures that do this for 2, like in standard right now. Obviously, this was included just for, draft play, because it's really good in draft. So next up, we've got Reapparition, or as I like to call it, Regrowth. This is like an old classic alpha beta kind of card. You return target card from your graveyard to your hand for 2 sorcery speed. I mean, that's classic, but it's also pretty vanilla. I don't know if there's a better version of this, and I don't care. And next up, we have another one of the force cards. Oh boy, these are very hit or miss. So it's a 4-cost double white enchantment, and if it's not your turn, you may exile a white card from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost, and then flash. I was hoping it had flash, otherwise that wouldn't work very well. And of course, creatures you control get +1/+1, so that's kind of fun with flash, especially for free. That is actually completely insane. It's not even tied to like the name of a tribal. You can do it, like I said, for 0 mana, and you can also do it at instant speed in the middle of combat to surprise somebody. Also, unlike just a field boost that's a one and done instant ambush, your creatures stay this way, so this is crazy. I mean, I would play this in standard right now. If we had this in standard right now, it would be crushing. It is a shame that it costs 4, but let's be honest, it costs 0. Oh, as much as I like that green one, I'm going to say that this is probably the best Force of Will knockoff so far. Next up, we've got Goblin Engineer. It's a 1/2 for 2, another rare, so watch out, Goblin Artificer. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card, put it into your graveyard, and then shuffle your library. Now, that's one I haven't seen before. But wait, there's more. If you pay 1 red and tap him, you can sacrifice an artifact, then return target artifact card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I'm actually not sure if you can return the one you just sacrificed. I feel like you could because it's payment versus resolution time, but I'm not sure when targeting has to be established. And also, I don't care, so don't put it in the comments section. So, okay, you gotta sack 1 artifact to go get a better one. I mean, whatever. Extra steps, I guess, although they did pump the brakes on this, because imagine if they didn't say mana cost 3 or less, you could just go get, like, Planar Portal, or whatever that is, that 8-cost thing that free casts everything. You know, the Stargate that Tezzeret built. Yeah, you could just, like, sacrifice a servo and just go drop that into play for free. So 3 or less, I mean, you could drop in Godsend. That's a fun weapon. I don't know if red's the most artifact-y deck I've ever seen, but I don't know. Somebody will probably do something with this. Next up, Evoltar. And it's in Portuguese, so I'm just going to have somebody else translate it. Fun fact, though, did you know that the word Portuguese actually translates directly to port full of geese? So anyway, the translated name is apparently just Evoltar. I mean, I can't correct that. Is it a proper noun? I don't know. I mean, it kind of comes across as sounding like a verb to me, but okay. So it's a 1-cost green sorcery, and until end of turn, target creature you control becomes a worm with base power and toughness 6 and 4, and then it has Overload where you can pay 6 more, and let's see, change, oh yeah, it's Overload, so change the target from 1 to each, I guess. I don't know if you can exempt one of your creatures. I haven't played Overload in forever, but yeah, you can turn all your creatures into 6/4s. Hello. Doesn't have trample though. So I mean, yeah, for 1, it probably shouldn't have trample, but you know, rereading it, I think that each is mandatory. That kind of sucks. Well, I guess if you turn something into a worm that you don't want to risk, you can just not swing with it. I gotta say, this is the strangest way to do a boost spell ever. And also, I mean, 6/4, that's one of the better ones I've seen. The problem is the bigger the creature was in the first place, the lower benefit you get. So, interesting dynamic compared to just your, Titanic Growth or whatever. Next up, welcome to hell. We've got Tempered Slivers. Slivers are in this set. Great. Let's see. So we have Snow Permanents, Slivers. Let's see, what are they missing? Mill, double face cards, and Infect. And then we'll have the perfect storm of shit that people cannot stand in Magic the Gathering. Slivers are terrible. If you're a Sliver player, you're a terrible person. They're overpowered, and I was hoping that we'd never see them again. Oh, do I even have to read this garbage? Okay, so all slivers you control have your opponent flips the table. Cool. So it's this 2/2 for 3, and they get a counter on them when they damage a player. Great, because they really needed that. Screw you, sliver players. Oh boy, Lava Belly Sliver. It's a 2/2 for 3, and sliver creatures you control have when this creature enters the battlefield deals 1 damage to target player or Planeswalker and you gain 1 life. Yeah, because they really needed that, because they weren't OP enough already. Next up, we got Dregscape Sliver. It might be Dragscape Sliver, considering I'm from Wisconsin. It's probably pronounced just like Dragon. I'm pretty sure it's Dragscape Sliver, you guys. You know, different parts of the country pronounce things differently, don't you know? I mean, I'm not from that north of Wisconsin. We're not in like Gus Johnson territory, like Cranberryville. People up there, when they're like, I'm from down south, they mean like Milwaukee. If they say the deep south, they mean Chicago. Anyway, this absolute piece of crap that never should have been printed is, let's see, each sliver card in your graveyard has Unearth 2, and then this has Unearth 2, and in case you're like me and forgot what that means, you pay 2, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Oh boy, it gains haste, exile it at the end of, or at the beginning of your next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield, Unearth only as a sorcery. So it's just your typical Whip of Erebos effect. Yes, I know that came out like 10 years after Unearth, shut up. So you might think now, what's the only way to kill slivers with this stupid thing in play? I mean, wipe their graveyard? No, kill your opponent with a knife. That was a joke, by the way. Next up, we got the first sliver. Thank God I can go back in time, kill this thing, and end this. I hope Karn takes the Silex, shoves it up this thing's ass, and detonates it. Oh look, 5-color legendary. I wonder if this is going to be a commander. This is probably legit like a $20+ card all day. So this has Cascade. Oh my God. Could you bring back a more toxic mechanic? You've got to be shitting me. Oh, and guess what? Sliver spells you have Cascade. F this card. F this stupid card. This is going to be banned from everything. This is way too powerful. Way too powerful. So anyway, moving on from that disgrace to the game, we've got Planebound Accomplice. Oh boy, it's a 1/3 for 3 human wizard. This is one of the dumber ideas they'd come up with, assuming it's not a reprint. I'm not even going to check because I don't care. Pay 1 red, you may put a Planeswalker card from your hand onto the battlefield. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. Very few Planeswalkers have a plus or a minus ability that would make this worthwhile. I mean, you could like pay 1, drop out Liliana, use her blow something up ability, then she's gone. That's a lot of mana to remove one thing. I mean, maybe one of the new War of the Spark Planeswalkers where they have like a passive ability and then you like drop the Planeswalker and you just use their passive and then do like something else with their passive. I mean, you could drop in Liliana where every time a creature dies, you draw a card and just like ride that all turn. I mean, okay, but this has very narrow usage. I don't know. It costs 3, it's not very good. Next up, oh good, they're reprinting Crypt Rats because we needed that. This is in 7th edition, so it just missed being in Modern, which is just an absolute shame, just a real tragedy. So, you pay X, and Crypt Rats deals X damage to each creature and each player, spend only black mana on X. So, it's like a recurring super removal ultra bomb. The only problem is it's each creature and each player, including you and including your creatures. But sometimes that's the point. Sometimes you want your stuff to die, but you also want their stuff to die, and that's just fine. This card is really damn annoying. And the fact that a normal counterspell can't counter this is... I hate this card so much. Next up, we've got another Mythic Ranger Captain of Eos, and he's a 3/3 for 3 double white, which that right off the bat makes it a little bit harder to play in Modern, but hey. And he's a human soldier, so that's got some potential. And whenever he enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature with converted mana cost 1 or less. Oh, this always goes well when they put this on a card. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Sacrifice Ranger Captain of Eos, and your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. And if you do that in response to one already on the stack, it does nothing. Cool. I think they basically just took 3 different cards and glued them all together, because all these effects sound really familiar. But yeah, being able to fetch stuff that's 1 or less, people can do some really messed up degenerate stuff with that. I mean, for sure, the Kieran and then Ugin's Spirit Thing deck would run this because you could go fetch it because it's 0. And it only gets more problematic from there. So, I don't know, I don't like it. Next up, Scrapyard Recombiner. It's a 0/0 for 3, which is just the definition of Value Town. It also has Modular 2. This creature enters the battlefield with 2 1/1 counters on it. When it dies, you may put its 1/1 counters on target artifact creature. Fun. Modular is always a fun mechanic. And you can tap it, sacrifice an artifact, and search your library for a construct card, which there's quite a few of actually. Reveal it and put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. I like this whole get rid of an artifact and go get a better one mechanic, but I don't know. We'll see if it takes off or not. Well, they seem to be strutting this card around like a prize pig at the state fair because they made it rare, so they think it's hot shit, I guess. Next up, we've got Etchings of the Chosen. It's a 3-cost 2-color enchantment. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Oh, because we needed another one of these. Please tell me that this is a reprint. Nope. Oh, good, because vampires and slivers and everything else needed this much of a boost. Yep, thanks. Oh, then guess what? Pay 1, sacrifice a creature of the chosen type, target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn, just in case your slivers weren't powerful enough already. Which, FYI, they are. And finally, the last card in this absolute slog through the shit marsh that is this god-awful set. It's a majestic as hell unicorn, damn it, it's a unicorn, not a uniform. Unless you're a furry. You weirdos. So this is a 2/2 for 3, Value Town. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on that creature. Everything about this image looks counterfeit and fake, so I wouldn't put a whole lot of stock in this one. I don't know if somebody just over-processed like the edges and stuff, but the font doesn't look right. Nothing looks right on this card. I mean, knowing the way people spoil these damn cards, they probably put their camera in their mouth and took a picture of this while flushing down the toilet and then photoshopped it back to proper lighting. So, I mean, who knows? Just saying. Those text edges do not look right. So yeah, this is annoying as shit in hardened scales. By the way, if you don't have any faith in the hardened scales mechanic and that whole archetype, I mean, first of all, we just got a bunch of more proliferate cards. And secondly, somebody brought a standard legal at the time hardened scales deck to a modern tournament where we were short a person. We were running like 15 people. We're like, hey, you can be the 16th person. He's like, oh, I didn't bring my modern decks. I'll just play my standard deck. It's pretty good. He won. He came in first place. Hardened Scales is no joke, okay? I ran that shit with Hero of Lena Tower, and I dominated with that. Oh, you mix it with Heroic? That's so tasty, I'd put it on my cereal in the morning. So anyway, Slivers ruined this whole set, and I hope it doesn't sell a single copy. F*** you, Wizards. I'll see you guys next video.